Hello and welcome to the Toffee Blues, your source for all things Everton, and welcome to another 24/7 news report. The big headline news coming out today is that Jarrad BRANTHWAITE is thought to be on Manchester City's radar as the club looks to rebuild their squad. That comes from Telefootball on Twitter, and yeah, it's not really a surprise to hear that news, if I'm going to be completely honest with you. It's news about Jarrad BRANTHWAITE, and especially since he's come back into the team, his form's been great. Everton have looked really solid defensively, and Man City struggles. You saw how quickly they leaked goals in the Manchester United game yesterday to throw the game away that it looked like they had in the bag, to be completely honest with you, and it was a complete shock when they did end up going and losing that game. And you've seen this Everton team, you've seen how solid we looked against Arsenal, really defending well, stopping them, Jarrad BRANTHWAITE being a big part of that defensive movement. But yeah, it doesn't really surprise me that a big team such as Man City want Jarrad. It'd be a very silly move to get rid of him in the middle of the season, I do think. But again, I've mentioned this in a few other videos in the past, that if the money's right, if 70, 80 million pounds is thrown to us in January, it's hard to turn it down. Maybe there's a way where we could say you pay the money and then we'll give you him at the end of the season, sort of thing. But yeah, it's a difficult one to say. I don't really know what I'd do if I was in Everton's position, but I do think Everton are going to need BRANTHWAITE if they really want to keep this defensive solidarity up, since it does look like Dyche is going to be the man to take us to the end of the season. We'll see. We don't really know, but again, it's one of those where we really have to see where things are going to go with it all. But yeah, I do think it's going to be an interesting saga, the whole BRANTHWAITE thing in January, since I can see a lot of big clubs coming over for him. But yeah, we'll have to see where it goes. Moving on to the next bit of news, and that is that Everton want to sign Manchester United defender Victor Lindelof in the upcoming transfer window. According to Caught Offside, the Red Devils value Lindelof at around £6.5 million. This is one where I think it's very silly, to be honest with you. I think I'm not against the idea of having more coverage at centre-back, and especially if Lindelof's going to be a backup player and is willing to take minimal wages, but I would much rather get a younger centre-back in who has something to prove or who could provide future value to the club, compared to someone like Lindelof, who it looks like the glory days of his career are long gone now. He barely gets a look in at Man United, who defensively aren't really much better than us, probably not better than us at all defensively, to be honest. So I don't see how Lindelof's going to come into our defence when we've arguably got better defenders than United do currently, if you look at the landscape of things. But yeah, it's an interesting one. I wouldn't be interested in it at all. I think we could do much better in other places, and also he would come in and should be a fourth choice centre back, because Jacob O'Brien needs to be given chances, because it's ridiculous the fact that we've signed O'Brien and then not really giving him any opportunity to show himself or show the ability that he has. So yeah, I think Lindelof would be a very stupid one, if I'm going to be honest with you. But next is that Torino are set to walk away from the move for Beto upon learning that Everton will not sanction a January transfer, due to Sport reports. According to the Italian news outlets, the Serie A outfit turned their attention to Inter Milan forward at Marko Arnautovic, with Beto expected to remain on Merseyside. That doesn't really surprise me. I did mention, depending on the value, we should look at getting rid of Beto, especially with how good Broja was again in the last appearance against Arsenal. But yeah, it's one of those where, to be completely honest with you, I would like to keep Beto, but I would also like to see more opportunities being made for Broja and Chimiti, so I can understand why it may be looked. But if the club aren't willing to sanction a January transfer, that falls back to the news about Jarrad BRANTHWAITE. Jarrad BRANTHWAITE is likely not going to be sold if we're not sanctioning a transfer for Beto, who's arguably now our third choice striker. We're not going to sanction a move for our best centre back, so I think that's just one of those bits of news. Going on to some takeover news from The Athletic, and that is that an independent oversight panel will likely see off the sign-off on the TFG takeover this week. And Alan Myers also reported that Wednesday's the likely day that something may be announced. Yeah, it's interesting to see. We'll have to see where things go. Hopefully we can get this done now. And it's a big saga season on. New owners coming in, new direction for the club, going into Bramley Moore, going into the next season in the Premier League, hopefully. It'll be interesting to see. But yeah, it's nice to see this is finally getting done and on the later stages. And thankfully we can just get this over, and the Farhad Mashiri era of Everton can just be put in the past as quickly as possible, hopefully, because it's had a bad last few years. And our last bit of news today comes from Fabrizio. I don't know why I put the accent on there. From Fabrizio Romano, and that is that Dele Alli will start training with Como. It's all scheduled with the Italian club, and says Fabregas. Como hoped he could provide his fitness and join the team, although it's not guaranteed now and will depend on performances. Dele Alli was spotted at a Como game yesterday. Again, he didn't really do anything for Everton besides that we won the game against Crystal Palace, which again, there'll always be some appreciation for Dele Alli because of that, because I think without him we do go down that season and in that game. Really, it's just one of those where good for Dele. Hopefully he can turn his career around, and hopefully Cesc Fabregas can help him. Sean Dyche was little to no help, but that's no surprise really with the man we're talking about here. But yeah, that is all the news for today. If you did enjoy this video, please make sure to like and subscribe. Follow us on Twitter at Everton Newsfeed, and follow me on Twitter at Callum 3. And I'll see you all for the next video and our live stream that I'm on. Goodbye, everyone.